So
For
to me, this year was a time to experiment, a time to slow down, but also very stressful, very scary. A lot of reflection happening.
For me, 2020 is been a really frustrating year, but it's also been a year where I've learned a lot, especially how to be more comfortable with myself. Overall, I'm really grateful to be in the position that I'm in. I know that a lot of other people are really struggling right now.
This year has not been fun. It's not been good. But I think it's also important to recognize that I've learned a lot about my privilege this year, and I've learned so much about what actually fighting for what you believe in really looks like. And I've experienced loss and grief and frustration and anxiety like the rest of the world, but I think it's important to focus on what I've actually gained from this year, and I've gained a lot. So I think that comparing the good and the bad is incredibly important, and I'm a stronger person because of 2020, so that's pretty cool.
2020 was like probably the worst year ever. Como mierda, no? Like super bad. And I'm excited to not do this year anymore. Because that's it. Todo no está bien. I'm not done. I'm not good.
So I'd honestly say that this year for me personally has just been really tough and confusing and interesting, but it's also been a really important year in my life for change and growth. I feel like being in quarantine and not being near the ones I love for a really long time, I've learned a lot about myself and who I need to be as a person.
Go ahead. Oh my god. Well, this past year.
Right.
So this year for me has been a huge eye-opener. It's been a really challenging year and a really hard year for me personally, as it has been for many people. I was let go because of COVID. My department was shut down.
This year it's been like one thing after the other, and I feel like also like it's been happening to like the same kind of people every time, and like I literally am one of those people. Like I'm a part of that community, the multiple communities, and so it's like it's stressful because it's like, well, that literally happened to me personally.
I became very politically and socially aware, and I think that happened to a lot of people because of quarantine, because of the election, because of all these very important protests that are happening. And there's just a huge divide within this country, and for a second there, I genuinely thought we were going to go into civil war. Like, I really did. People are openly being racist and bigoted, and it's really hard. But people are also openly being kind and compassionate and wanting to make change. Like, that Black Lives Matter movement is so amazing. Like, the peaceful protests, and there was destruction of property, but there was also murder of innocent Black men also happened.
Honestly, I like cannot look at the police without like having a racing heart. Like, right. I literally like that shit is scary. Like, literally today I was driving to my friend's house and I was like leaving and the police were going the other way and they looked at me, and then I was going, and then I saw them like do a U-turn and turn around and follow me, and I literally was like and I was like, I don't have anything in my car.
Right. I think for me, like, honestly, I've definitely felt like sometimes I'll be extra safe when police are around.
Yeah.
Like, there's almost like a fear.
This year has shown a lot of people's true colors, and it has shown a lot of people blatantly disregard other people's existence. Like with COVID, people are like, well, it only affects people who are vulnerable, so I'm not going to wear a mask because it's more than 95% of the population won't die. And it's like, well, you're basically saying that 5% who is vulnerable, their life doesn't have any value and their existence shouldn't be cared for. That's what they're saying, and they're open about it.
My communication has been lacking
Bro.
with friends and family.
So isolated.
Exactly.
And,
I feel extremely unfulfilled at times.
yes.
Because I feel like everything is so
everything's just gone to
technological
shit.
now.
Everything's gone to
Exactly.
shit. It's like there's
and
no.
so now you're like, what the fuck? There's no.
It's not personable or
Right.
personal at all. So you're kind of just by yourself.
Right.
It's hard out here.
No, honestly, and I just feel like COVID has fucked everything up because I was supposed to have an amazing year this year with my friends.
It was gonna be so crazy.
Bro,
For me personally, the pandemic gave me sort of a crutch for my previous problems with anxiety in 2019 and towards the end of 2019.
And also, I just want to have been able to see my friends more because
Literally.
there's so much distance in between us.
The amount of depression, but it's kind of solitude induced depression. It's kind of just you're not doing anything and you're just by yourself. That
Right.
shit sucks.
No, I agree.
That's whack. So, and that's been the mood all year so
Right.
far. So
Exactly.
it's been really, it's been weird.
Being able to stay at home and be all relaxed and just focus on the now, and then subconsciously building up my anxiety more and more, because knowing that after this I'm gonna have to get my priorities straight.
2020 for me wasn't the worst year ever. I know that a lot of people lost people who were very close to them due to the pandemic, and I was fortunate and blessed enough that didn't happen to me.
We've never experienced this before, and I'm very curious to see what that does to people's mental health.
And it was kind of nice to see all the people around me being able to have a break from real life and fast-paced life, and being able to pick up new hobbies, get in touch with their artistic side, learn new things, maybe process some unhealed emotions that a lot of us had. And I know that that's a lot of what I did.
Horrible timing, absolutely disgusting timing for me, and it kind of makes me sad. But
2020, originally, it was a year that I intended for me to go after a lot of the things that I want to do. And then when quarantine happened, it just woke me up even more. So I was already very motivated going into 2020, but it just motivated me even more because I experienced what it was to be sedentary and not be able to go after what I want.
My experience with 2020 hasn't been positive, but it's hard to stand here and say that it's been terrible considering what some people have had to go through this year in terms of being sick or having loved ones who are sick, facing discrimination, or severe depression, anxiety. There's so many issues this year that people are facing. So it's hard to say that I'm in a bad position because it's all relative, I suppose. Like a lot of people take it, I'm going to use this as a learning opportunity this year to see, what these situations do to us, and how we come out the other end.
2020, surprisingly, was one of the best years of my life, and it has to do a lot with my mental health and the major improvements I've been feeling and experiencing. To think that in February I was hospitalized for suicidal ideation and depression just blows my mind that happened this year, because now I am a whole new person and I don't have to worry about depression. And this is the first time in my life that I felt that. So it's a really sorry. I'm just really grateful. And I do have to say, it wasn't really because of COVID or quarantine or even 2020 that I had such a big shift in my mental health. It was really just the timing of it all. But, just mind-blowing to me that I even reached a place like this this level of happiness. And a lot of my family members were affected by COVID, and my friends as well. So I felt the pain through them this year, but I personally, this is the best year for me.